Good morning, happy Thursday. We are glad you've joined us. We've got a question for you right off the bat today.
Yeah, this is a question we've been bouncing around here in our studio for a while. School started and the first parent-teacher conference, it's right around the corner. But is it worth your time or is it a waste of time?
Yeah, your thoughts may differ also depending on the age of your child.
Sure.
Elementary school, different from my junior high school experience with my high school kids, different ages. But the question came because we were talking about sometimes junior and high school teachers, parent-teacher conferences in particular. One of our producers said she'll sometimes show up and the teachers aren't even there, leave a note and say, not here, if you have a question, call me or something like that.
Email me, get in touch with me, but not actually there for the parent-teacher conference. And here you have, as a parent who's rounded up her junior high school daughter, taken her to the conference, and no teacher. So there's the whole other question as well. If you don't go, as a parent, if you don't go, are you setting your child up for that impression that, gosh, my parent doesn't care, you know, it doesn't matter to me, their education is not important? Are you making an impression on that teacher about you and your child?
Yeah, are you making a statement to the kid? Are you making a statement to the teacher? Are you making who are you making the statement to? So here's the question for you, okay? Parent-teacher conference, worth it or waste? So you might say, yeah, it's worth it. I look forward to connecting with my child's teacher. I like that chance. Or, no, it is a complete waste of time. They don't know my kid. It's too early in the year. They got 150 kids. They don't know who my kid is. It's impossible. So log on to studio5.ksl.com and you can click on today's poll to leave us your vote.
It's all anonymous, so the neighbors or the teachers who might be monitoring can't pass judgment on your parenting, but we're really curious to see what you think. Worth your time, a waste of time? Parent-teacher conferences. We're going to update you on the outcome of that poll during the show. We wanted to ask a teacher as well, get a teacher's opinion. The same question, do they think it's worth their time? We've got Virginia Riley on the phone. She teaches AP English at Woods Cross High School. She's known as a teacher not afraid to speak her mind. Virginia, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Is it worth it or waste of time? What do you think from a teacher's perspective?
I definitely think it's worth it for a lot of reasons. The biggest one is, as you were saying, the message it sends to kids. Parents tell the kids that what they spend their day doing is important.
Okay, Virginia, here's the question for you. What if you just tell your kids you're going to parent-teacher conference so they think you care, but you just run down to 7-Eleven and grab a Slurpee or something like that? Is it still the okay thing?
Well, then you have all kinds of other problems.
Yeah,
that have nothing to do with education.
I was thirsty for a Slurpee.
Here's what I want to know, though, Virginia. From a teacher's perspective, do you think differently of the parent, the child, the family if the parents don't show up or go to 7-Eleven?
No, certainly not. But sometimes there are parents you really want to see. There are parents who, 4 weeks into the school year, you already know the kid is in trouble. And the parent-teacher conference allows for a team-building kind of thing because we're all on the same side. We all want what's best for the kids. And sometimes if a kid is in trouble, I really want to see the parent so that I can build a partnership, so I can find out if there's something that I need to know going on with that child, that's something I can do to help them. And so those are the parents you want to see. And oftentimes they come, but sometimes they don't. And then you just feel bad because you as a teacher, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Good points. We'll keep it in mind while we're voting today as well. Okay, thanks, Virginia.
You've still got to cast your vote, though, on our website. So we heard your vote. You just got to vote officially.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Virginia. All right. Well, parent-teacher conference kind of setting off the theme for the day, that parent-teacher communication, so important no matter how you look at it. And whether you like parent-teacher conferences or not, you still have to communicate with your child's teacher at some point during the year.
Yeah, so how do you do it? That's the question. Matt Townsend is a relationship coach. He knows how to communicate without getting emotional or upset or defensive or too biased or any of those things that get in the way.
You can communicate without being emotional?
No. I always get all verklempt. I hate it when I talk to the teachers.
Oh.
This is an important deal.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear a word Virginia said.
Oh, sorry.
So that's all right. I like to go blind.
She was for it. She was for parent-teacher conferences.
Okay, good, because I'm against them. Hate them. Don't need them.
No, you don't.
No, I love them, and here's why. I don't. It's kind of like eating healthy. Not every meal just always makes you healthy, but the cumulative sum of all of these exercises pays off eventually. Yeah. So I think that's kind of what parent-teacher conferences are about. I've noticed that when I go to them, I have 6 kids. Remember?
Oh, you're there all night long.
Yeah. See, I'm busy a lot, so my wife ends up going a lot. But she was a school teacher, so that makes all the difference.
Okay.
I married a school teacher to get over my fears. Anyway.
You married a school teacher, so you never have to go to parent-teacher conference.
Exactly right.
Because you need to take care of it. Yeah.
But it's a big deal because, and I don't think we're doing it for necessarily, I mean, we're communicating to our children that we're into education, I'm into them, but I notice when I go to parent-teacher conferences, I learn a lot about my kids. I learn how they socialize, I learn if they talk too much, I learn if they study, I learn how their teacher feels about them. So there's a lot of the reason I go isn't for the teacher, but it's to just seriously learn about my kid. That teacher knows a lot about my child that I don't know. I don't know how he handles stress sometimes until, you know, in the middle of a ball game. But I want to build this relationship now, and I don't want to build it necessarily thinking I'm going to have a problem tomorrow. But you never know when you're going to need a relationship with that teacher.
Yeah.
And so with every kid, I just basically would make it a goal or set a goal to let's find a way to create the relationship well before we need the relationship.
Before you get to your 7 rules on talking to a teacher, I got to tell you, to confess, the reason I go to parent-teacher conferences is basically to schmooze the teacher. I want to make a good impression. Really, I'm trying to get my kid. Yeah, exactly. Is that wrong?
Did you bring an apple?
Pretty much.
I would if I thought it helped out.
You don't pay money or anything to the teacher.
Would there be a problem with that?
Well, anyway, you bring treats.
It's tax deductible, isn't it?
But you know what? I think bribery's a great way to help your children's education.
That's a good question,
I think it's a great question because we're all kind of networking, trying, but I guess the biggest reason I would go is maybe just to let the teacher know you're there, let the kid know that there's going to be accountability. There's going to be a rule I call is transparency, that the kid knows I'm talking to the teacher and the teacher knows I'm talking to the kid. So if I go take the child to parent, I want my child with me at parent-teacher conferences, especially second or third semesters or second semester. I want my parent and my teacher knowing that they can tell me whatever they want in front of the kid and we'll be holding the child accountable.
It's that trust relationship. Okay, your 7 rules. 1, don't be afraid of the teacher.
Yes.
That can be scary.
That's a scary, scary deal. I mean, we all used to be afraid of some teacher, and so I notice as an adult when I go sit with them, I'm still looking at them with a little bit of fear, like, Mr. Johnson, how are we doing? So don't be afraid of these teachers. They're your equal. They're your peer, and they need as much help from you as you need from them.
Okay. I like your next point, is remembering, because Brooke's mom's a teacher, my parents are both teachers, remembering that teachers don't get overtime, so respect their time while you're there.
Get out of their time. And especially with teachers, I mean, there's a lot of ways we can communicate. I think email's a great way to do it because they can kind of do it on their own time. They can do it when it's convenient. So use some tools so you can respect their time.
And going along with that, respect the workload teachers I know even bring home. My mom's always, when I call her, she's at the classroom or she's cutting out whatever. I mean, they're always working.
They're always working, which is a great way to get in and start communicating, is volunteer in the classroom, get in there. By the way, it's a great way to see how your kid participates, see who his friends are, see what might be a bad situation for your child, is like ask the teacher if you can move the child to a different place.
It's like detective work.
Totally.
Behind the scenes.
But notice this takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of parents out there that can't. My parents, they were divorced when I was younger, and my mom was a single mom and just sent us to school. And I've got some stories in a sec we'll tell you about an awesome teacher that made all the difference.
Certainly along the same lines, you talk about respecting the teacher's workload, because they do have a lot of work. So let me jump to the next one as well. Don't just talk. Get involved. Don't just be all talky, or actually do some action.
Get involved, be active, get there, get to class, take something, take treats, call, see if you can take stuff home to report or to grade their reports. That's the way you can fix your child's grades before you hand them in. Just kidding.
They always get 100%. Amazing how that happens.
It's amazing. Every time I grade, my son aces it. Weird. But get involved. Teachers, I think, respect the relationship of you being an involved parent more than just that you're going to parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah.
Parent-teacher conferences is one chance to get involved. There are a myriad of chances and opportunities to get in there.
So more than just lip service. And the next one intrigued me because you say that you need to understand the teacher's perspective first before your own.
Okay, check this out. So I have a child named Spencer, cutest little 5-year-old in the world, and I asked him, he had wet his bed a few years ago. And I went and said, "Did you wet your bed?" And Spencer said, "Well, not all of it." So right then I made this rule in my head that I'm never going to believe Spencer because Spencer doesn't have the same perspective as maybe a teacher would.
Yeah.
So he didn't wet all of it, just a spot on it. And our teachers have a completely different perspective than our kids. What our teachers think is important is probably not what our kids always think is important. So if you have a run-in with the teacher and all of a sudden it all goes crazy and you need to go talk to the teacher, I wouldn't assume you have the whole story. I would assume, honestly, you have maybe a third. The third your child has told you. Because there's usually his story, her story, and then the story we never tell. that kind of is the in-between story.
Yeah.
So you got to go to school, talk to the teacher, and look for the other 2/3 of the story.
Okay, and your last one is treat teachers as partners.
As partners. Remember, they love your kid eventually, depending on your child. But I had a teacher, if you can partner, if the parents and the teachers can talk with each other, you could really be backing each other up. My parents, when they were divorced, I had a math teacher that was really pushing me. She had my sisters, this was in high school, and she knew we weren't very good at math. You know, that's why I'm a human behaviorist, not a scientist.
No numbers.
Right. And so I went to class. My teacher said, you got to retake this test. Go home and study and get it right and get back, and I'll let you retake the test. So I went home, studied all weekend. I was stressed out, couldn't believe it, wasn't getting it, it wasn't coming to me. I went to my mom and I said, Mom, this isn't easy. I don't get this. It's too hard. And my mom says, honey, don't worry about it. You're a Townsend. And Townsends don't do math. And she was just trying to be nice. She wasn't like, but all of a sudden I thought, really? And she goes, yeah, your dad couldn't do math, I can't do math, your grandparents couldn't do math. We're not math people. And I'm like, sweet. I was so stressed. So I went back to school, talked to Mrs. Larson at Highland High School. Look at me now. And I said, Mrs. Larson, she goes, you ready for your test? And I go, you know what? No. And she goes, why? And I go, well, I'm a Townsend, and we don't do math. And so I'm going to skip it this time, if that's okay with you. And she looked at me like, what? And I go, no, really, we don't do math.
I think we have Mrs. Larson on the phone right now from Humble High School. Love to talk to her.
But you know what? She finally pointed at my chest and she said, she knew my sisters and said, I know they don't do math, believe me. But she pointed at my chest and she said, this Townsend does math. And it was the first time I learned that my genetics that will not get me out of my responsibilities, the things I need to learn. And so right there I thought, holy cow, she's a better advocate for me on math in that moment than even my mother was. And what if our parents were talking? What if my mom was talking to Mrs. Larson? Maybe she was, but it was a powerful lesson to learn. I think that's the power teachers have, and I think that's the way we can use teachers in a more effective way to help get all of our goals reached.
Great tips as always, Matt.
Thanks,
Thank you
kids.
So much. And you're running
awesome.
Over to the Doug Wright Show right now?
I am.
Okay.
We're going to switch topics a little bit.
Busy man, of course. You can hear him on Doug Wright in a few minutes. Also, you can catch his show on Saturday mornings.
Saturday mornings when there's not BYU games.
When there is no
Preempted again this Saturday,
yes.
right?
Yeah. It's a big deal.
2 weeks, though, you're on.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, his website, marriagemattersutah.com. You can get more information about the Townsend Relationship Center, but don't call him with any math questions because he's not available.
Because he doesn't do math.
We don't do math.
He might do math, but not really anymore. Thanks for stopping in, Matt.
That's right, thanks.
Hey, still to come, soups on the stove. This is not your ordinary everyday soup. Today, this is a recipe that is all fall. Autumn pear and pumpkin soup.
That looks so good. Also, as the seasons begin to change, we start looking for those great Christmas decorating ideas. And this next project would also make a great gift idea as well for the neighbors. We're getting a jump start for you how to create this festive Christmas garland next.